You feel like you are here, right now, behind your eyes, listening. That feeling seems obvious, solid, certain. But here is the uncomfortable truth. That certainty is not evidence. It is a construction. Pause. Your brain does not discover reality. It assembles it. Every moment, electrical signals are stitched together into a story. Vision, memory, emotion, body position, time. And from that stitching, a center appears. A voice, a location, a sense of me. But this center is not found. It is generated. Science has shown this again and again. Touch a small region of the brain, and the self shifts. Stimulate another, and a presence appears in the room. Not a metaphor, not imagination. People feel someone standing behind them, watching, loving, threatening. Nothing is there, and yet the experience is undeniable. So ask yourself, if the brain can create another presence, what makes you so sure it didn't create you? Pause. When the sense of self loosens, people leave their bodies. They watch themselves from above. They see doctors working, they hear conversations. This happens when a tiny junction in the brain loses coordination. The shock is not that people leave their bodies. The shock is this. The feeling that you are inside your body is not fundamental. It is an achievement. Pause. Split the brain in two, and two streams of awareness emerge. One hand buttons a shirt, the other unbuttons it. Two intentions, two wills, one skull. So tell me, if consciousness can divide, who are you? Pause. Then there are states where the story collapses entirely. Psychedelics, near death, deep trauma. The network that maintains the ego goes quiet. The filter drops, and suddenly, there is no boundary, no center, no me, only awareness. And here is the part that breaks models. Some people return from these states with information they should not have. Conversations, tools, details. Their brains were offline. No blood, no signal, no activity. And yet, they saw. So now you are left with only two options. Either humanity is sharing the same precise hallucination across cultures, across centuries, across languages, or consciousness is not produced by the brain. The brain does not create awareness, it limits it. Like a radio does not create music, it receives it. When the radio breaks, the music does not die, it is released. Pause. And now we reach the final question. You feel like you are listening right now. But if thoughts can be observed, emotions can be observed, even the sense of I can be observed, then what is doing the observing? Where are you, really? Perhaps the strangest thing is not that you can leave the body. Perhaps the strangest thing is that you ever believed you were trapped inside it at all. Pause. The self is a function, not a fact. Listen carefully, because this is where the ground starts to move. The sense of I, the feeling that you are here, located somewhere behind your eyes, looking out at the world. That is not a discovery. It is a function. Breathe. Your brain has a job. It must keep the body alive, oriented, and moving. To do that, it needs a center, a reference point. So it builds one. Vision comes in. Balance signals arrive. Memories activate. Emotions color everything. And the brain says, here, this is you. Not because it's true, because it's useful. Neuroscience calls this integration. Philosophy calls it the narrative self. Hermetic traditions called it the mask. Different words, same mechanism. Here's the uncomfortable part. If the self were fundamental, it wouldn't be so fragile. But change a tiny electrical pattern, and the self moves. Stimulate one region, and you feel watched. Stimulate another, and you feel love, terror, or a presence. No belief involved, no culture required, just electricity. So ask yourself slowly, if your sense of me can be shifted, duplicated, or erased, what exactly is it? Breathe. You don't feel like a process. You feel like a thing. That feeling is the trick. The brain compresses billions of signals into a single point of reference so action is possible. That compression feels solid, but solid does not mean real. A shadow feels attached to you until the light moves. The self is a shadow of integration. When the system is stable, the shadow looks permanent. When the system destabilizes, the shadow breaks apart. And yet, something remains aware of the breaking. That's the problem. Material explanations can describe the construction. They struggle to explain the witness. Because even when the self disappears, awareness does not. People report it again and again. I was gone, but something was still there. No name, no story, no location, just knowing. So maybe the self is not who you are. Maybe it's what allows you to function in a body, a tool, not the user. And tools feel like identity when you've never put them down. Breathe. This is why losing the self feels terrifying. And liberating? Because you're not losing awareness, you're losing the story that claimed ownership of it. And the question quietly forming now is, if the self is a function, what are you when the function turns off? Breathe to that. The location of you is negotiated. Now we go one layer deeper, because the self is not only constructed, it is positioned. You feel like you are here, behind your eyes, inside your head, looking out. That feeling is so convincing that you've never questioned it. But location is not truth. Location is agreement. Breathe. Your brain must answer one urgent question at all times. Where am I relative to the world? To solve this, it merges vision, balance, touch, memory, and intention into a single coordinate. That coordinate becomes me, not a soul, not an observer. A reference point. When that reference point is stable, you feel centered. When it destabilizes, something strange happens. People feel themselves drift, lift, slide, split. Sometimes they watch their body from above, sometimes from behind, sometimes from nowhere at all. This isn't imagination, it's geometry. Change the brain's integration point, and the self relocates. Neuroscience has shown this cleanly. Disrupt a small junction that fuses body and space, and the you that was behind the eyes moves. Not metaphorically, experientially. And here's the sentence that should stop you. The problem is not that people leave their bodies. The problem is that they were ever convinced they were inside them. Breathe. Think about it. If you were truly inside your body, how could you observe it? If you were truly located in one place, how could that location shift? The answer is uncomfortable. You were never where you thought you were. The feeling of location is a mental map, not a coordinate in space. Like a cursor on a screen, useful, precise, but not the computer. When the map breaks, the cursor floats, and yet, something is still aware of the floating. That's the crack in the story. Because if awareness can exist without a fixed location, then location was never essential. It was optional, negotiated, temporary. So ask yourself gently, if you can move, or dissolve, or disappear entirely, what remains constant? What is aware when there is no center? Breathe. Maybe the strangest realization is this: you are not in your body. Your body is appearing inside awareness, and the sense of me here was just the brain doing its job very well, until it didn't. Breathe to that. The location of you is negotiated. Now we go one layer deeper, because the self is not only constructed, it is positioned. You feel like you are here, behind your eyes, inside your head, looking out. That feeling is so convincing that you've never questioned it. But location is not truth. Location is agreement. Breathe. Your brain must answer one urgent question at all times: where am I relative to the world? To solve this, it merges vision, balance, touch, memory, and intention into a single coordinate. That coordinate becomes me, not a soul, not an observer. A reference point. When that reference point is stable, you feel centered. When it destabilizes, something strange happens. People feel themselves drift, lift, slide, split. Sometimes they watch their body from above, sometimes from behind, sometimes from nowhere at all. This isn't imagination, it's geometry. Change the brain's integration point, and the self relocates. Neuroscience has shown this cleanly. Disrupt a small junction that fuses body and space, and the you that was behind the eyes moves. Not metaphorically, experientially. And here's the sentence that should stop you. The problem is not that people leave their bodies. The problem is that they were ever convinced they were inside them. Breathe. Think about it. If you were truly inside your body, how could you observe it? If you were truly located in one place, how could that location shift? The answer is uncomfortable. You were never where you thought you were. The feeling of location is a mental map, not a coordinate in space. Like a cursor on a screen, useful, precise, but not the computer. When the map breaks, the cursor floats, and yet, something is still aware of the floating. That's the crack in the story. Because if awareness can exist without a fixed location, then location was never essential. It was optional, negotiated, temporary. So ask yourself gently, if you can move, or dissolve, or disappear entirely, what remains constant? What is aware when there is no center? Breathe. Maybe the strangest realization is this: you are not in your body. Your body is appearing inside awareness, and the sense of me here was just the brain doing its job very well, until it didn't. Breathe to that. Chapter 5. When awareness continues without the brain. Now we reach the point where explanations start to break. Not emotionally, structurally. Breathe. There are moments when the brain should not be able to produce experience at all. No signal, no coordination, no power. And yet, experience is reported. Clear, detailed, coherent. This is not belief. This is data. During cardiac arrest, blood flow stops. Electrical activity collapses. The cortex goes silent. From a neurological standpoint, there should be nothing. No perception, no memory, no awareness. And yet people return describing conversations, instruments, movements, sounds. Details later verified. This is not one culture, not one era, not one belief system. The patterns repeat. The same tunnel, the same clarity, the same expansion, the same absence of fear. So now the question becomes unavoidable. If the brain is offline, what is doing the experiencing? There are only two coherent answers. Either consciousness is hallucinating itself without hardware, or consciousness is not generated by the brain at all. The first explanation breaks physics. The second breaks assumptions. And assumptions are easier to defend than laws. So neuroscience hesitates. But philosophy does not flinch. If awareness can persist when the system that supposedly produces it is silent, then production was never the right model. The brain may not be the source. It may be the limiter, a filter, a reducer, a focusing lens, like a radio. Damage the radio, the signal distorts. Turn it off, the signal does not die. It simply stops being localized. This model explains more with less force. Why identity collapses in altered states. Why awareness expands. Why fear dissolves. Why self feels small compared to what remains. The self was never the experiencer. It was the boundary. Breathe. So if awareness does not depend entirely on the brain, then death is not annihilation. It is removal of constraint, not disappearance. And the strangest part? When people return, they do not say, "I saw something new." They say, "I remembered." As if awareness was never created, only focused. And now the final question is forming. If awareness does not begin in the brain and does not end with it, then what exactly are you right now? Breathe to that. The question that cannot be answered. Now we arrive at the edge, not the end. The edge. Breathe. Everything up to this point has dismantled something. The location of you, the story of you, the boundary of you, even the dependence of awareness on the brain. What remains is not a conclusion. It is a question that refuses to disappear. Right now, you feel like you are listening, not your ears, not your thoughts. You. That feels obvious. But let's slow it down. Thoughts are appearing, and you are aware of them. Sensations are appearing, and you are aware of them. The feeling of me is appearing, and you are aware of that too. So whatever you are, you cannot be any of those things, because anything you can observe cannot be the observer. This is not spiritual language. It is logical necessity. And this is where every model breaks. Materialism cannot explain the observer without turning it into another object. Dualism splits the world in two and explains nothing about the bridge. Panpsychism spreads awareness everywhere, but still cannot explain why this awareness feels like you. So the audio does not resolve it. It does something more honest. It removes the false answer. You are not behind your eyes. You are not inside your body. You are not the voice narrating experience. Those are functions, stories, coordinates. And yet, there is undeniable knowing. Awareness without effort, without center, without shape. Not owned, not located, not personal. The most unsettling possibility is this. You were never contained. You were never trapped. You were never local. The body appeared in awareness. The self appeared in awareness. The story appeared in awareness. And awareness never moved. So when you ask, "Who am I?" every answer fails. And what remains is silence. Not empty, not dead. Present. Breathe. Perhaps the strangest realization is not that you can leave the body. Perhaps the strangest realization is that you once believed you were ever inside it at all. Breathe to that.